Okay, thank you, Harold. All right, let's get started. Thank you all very much for joining me this afternoon. And this is our second in a series of kind of new webinars that we're trying out, where we're talking more about the top administrative level of Office 365. We're still doing the webinars that deal with Office specifically, or the products from the end user perspective, but we're trying this as well. And it's one of the things that so far the response from the last one was pretty good, so we're doing this again. And what I thought we'd do, and by the way, this is Bob Coppedge, CEO of Simplex-IT, and what I thought we'd do this month is actually take a look at all of the products that we never hear about. And there are a ton of them. And there are two things, and by the way, I dabbled with the idea of making unmuting the microphones. I think I'm going to wait until Patty's actually can join me, or vice versa, so to manage the voice and all of that kind of fun stuff. So we'll do that at some point. So for right now, if you have any questions or comments or the like, just add them to the conversation. Right now, I am sharing, I know you'll be excited, a PowerPoint slide. We'll take a look at some of the other product as well as we go through it. So what I thought we'd do, though, is we would go through and take a look at the basically, as I call them, the red-headed stepchildren of Office 365, specifically the add-on products, the products that they don't really push a lot of marketing or the like, but they're there. In some cases, they're free outside of 365, but use 365 very well. In some cases, they are part of the 365 subscription, some or all. And in other cases, they are just there. Or an additional price, and we'll talk about each of those. At this point, we are not going to do a deep dive into any of these products because, quite honestly, there's too many of them. We just don't have time. But I would love to get feedback from you guys in terms of which products you are interested in. And we already have done. We've done a couple of webinars on OneNote. We've done a couple of webinars on Planner. We're doing one next week on To Do. We did one on Teams, so on and so forth. So we're trying to keep up with this. But I'd love to get some feedback from you guys in terms of what you'd actually like to see and hear more about. So that said, all right, and we had a couple more folks join. Thanks, I'm still Bob, and we're going to move forward. As always, please give some feedback. Give some feedback. First thing I wanted to show is here are the four things that we've got coming up over the next month or so. As I mentioned, next week we have Patty will be hosting the Office 365 dive into the To-Do product, and we'll talk briefly about that here. July 12th, we are going to have our first IT policy and procedure workshop. That is for organizations that are looking to develop policies and procedures for how their employees deal with IT. We really are excited about this, and we are really having a hard time defining it well to people. Anyway, that's coming up. That's actually here at worldwide headquarters of Simplex-IT. And then on July 18th, we're going to have the third webinar on administrating OneDrive for Business. So this is the top-down, the 365 administrator. Microsoft recently, with very, very little fanfare, opened or created a OneDrive for Business admin portal as part of Office 365. It's not great, but it's a lot better than the nothing that we had to deal with. We're almost getting to the point at Simplex-IT where we can recommend using OneDrive for Business. For a long time, we've basically said if it's critical, stay away from it. But anyway, and then July 25th, we're going to do something new. And those of you who know us, it's going to involve Kevin Dukevich, who's the tech director here, and myself. We're going to try something. We'll see. Anyway, that's going to be an online event, so that's what's going on. The last thing before we get to the details is there is a deal from Microsoft. If you ever deal with purchasing Microsoft software services or the like, you know that the best time to do it is the month of June because it is their end of fiscal year. This is no exception. If you either are implementing Office 365 or you are currently using the you're paying Microsoft directly for the 365. If you switch to their CSP product, which is the exact same product, exact same price, through us, we'll give you a free month of your 365 service. That's it. That's the promotion on that. So, some caveats. First of all, Microsoft cannot make things easy. Hey, I want to find a good term for a product, so if I go search for it, I can find it. Let's call it Planner. Let's call it Teams. Let's call it To Do. Microsoft also, they do not implement stuff at the same time, and that even is on Office 365. So, for example, if you guys are using Office 365, the administrative portal has gone through upgrades and changes, but not for everybody at the same time. Also, lousy track record of communicating status of products and releases in terms of these guys, the secondary guys. And just to point out, we're a silver cloud champion tier, whatever we are, and yet for some reason we don't get, and nor do any other Microsoft partners on our level, we don't get the heads up or heads. So we get the stuff about us, the same thing as you do. And again, when we take a look at the admin console here, not all what we call Microsoft tenant, your organization is a tenant. Or has a tenant for 365. Not all tenants get upgraded at the same, or the features get added to at the same time. There's no rhyme or reason to that. Customers can get stuff before we do. It's annoying, but that's the way Microsoft is. The other caveat to keep in mind of what's going on is Microsoft is competing against Google in a very odd way. When you take a look at Google's products are very much oriented towards the individual primarily and the organization or corporation on a secondary level. And, I don't want to get into a big detailed discussion on that. It's basically how they came to where they are now. And so it's their primary focus and how they've gone and done things. Microsoft is exactly the opposite. They've come at it from a corporate standpoint, and then is their primary focus, and then is on the individual. But Google has always had tons of additional tools that were available in their app world. And I'm strictly talking about the Google Docs and all the stuff that's up on the Google side. We're not talking about the Android apps or the like. Whereas Microsoft has had a core stable of products. Microsoft's trying to catch up to Google, but it's trying to catch up with them with tools that are aimed at the corporate users, not so much on the end users. And there's definitely blur and bleed between the two. But when you look at what Microsoft's doing, keep that in mind in terms of how they're trying to compete against Google and yet still maintain their corporate ties, if that makes sense. So, okay, with the caveats. Now, the next thing, that's a slide from another that's called cut and paste. Okay, so product types, our terminology. So don't look at this, but when we talk about Office 365, and we've had this conversation several times where we talk with a potential customer or a customer, and they say, oh, Office 365, that's email. Office 365, that's Office. Yes, but Office 365 is really an umbrella of product. That's the only way to really describe it. In some case, or it's really an umbrella of product and services. It's because it has all sorts of other things, and it's like everything else Microsoft does. There's 75,000 different ways to do it, to apply it, to use it. So we have what we call our primary licensed products, Office, Exchange, Mailbox, those are the biggies. And then product enhancements, those are the add-ons that you can get. Encryption isn't much good unless you've got the email, as an example. Those of you who are called in by phone, that's an add-on to Skype for Business if you're calling in by a phone number. And then we've got the secondary products. Those are separate products as well, but they're really not the biggies. And then we've got the add-on products. Those are the products that really we're going to focus on today. And those are the to-do, the planner. Those are essentially things that will enhance the experience of the organization or individual within the organization, or a little combination of both, which may or may not use, may or may not require, may or may not interface with Office 365. Okay, and that's really what we're going to focus on. And what we're going to do here is these are the ones that are currently the main ones I want to talk about today. And this is by no means complete. There's kind of a blur because there's also a lot of add-ons that are available, whether they be web-based add-ons or on-premise add-ons that are available as well. And I kind of had to figure out where I was going to cut things off. Also, they will add things and they will not tell me. I don't know why. I'm a pleasant enough person, but they do not tell me specifically. So these are all of the products, and some of them are probably familiar to you, like OneNote. That's been around for years. Power BI has been around for a while as well, but some of the stuff has been added relatively recently. Again, GigJam is one, and To-Do is another that are relatively recent. And what we're going to do, because we've only got about 15, 20 minutes, is we're just going to go talk top level about what's involved with these products, what is the core of what they do, and so on. If you can, I'd appreciate if you in the chat section, if you want to add a note of whether there's specifics that you're interested in or questions on it, that would help a lot, because otherwise I'm just going to zoom through these guys as far as what they do, approximately what they require, or why you'd use it or why you wouldn't use it, and just move on from there. Okay? Okay, Bob? Cool. So let's start with Delve. Delve is odd. Delve is essentially, it shows you what other people, and by the way, here's a couple things I want to show you. And I am going into our administrative console into Office 365. And the administrative console, I want to show you from a couple standpoints. One thing that I'm going to talk about, and this is the new portal, everybody will see, anyone who has any kind of Office 365 subscriptions or like, you can go to portal.office.com. And one of the things they'll see is up here, up on the top left, you'll see what's called the App Launcher. And the App Launcher will show you all of the applications that are available, all of the applications that are available through the 365 portal to that user. So whether that user is an administrator or not doesn't matter. They'll see that app launch and they'll be able to launch things from here. One of the things that as an administrator I want you to understand is services and add-ins underneath settings. Services and add-ins, oddly enough, is where you manage your services and add-ins. Bet you didn't see that coming. And oddly enough, your organization will see these added regardless of whether you asked for them or not, if these are services that are available to your 365 subscription. So in other words, if you've got an enterprise level subscription and that qualifies you for Delve, say, you'll see Delve in either up here, if it's already included, right here, or if it's something that requires configuration, such as GigJam, over here. And in some cases, and we'll take Sway for example, you have the ability to configure some of these things. And we'll get into the detail. I just wanted to show you generally how that works. So Delve is kind of interesting. And in some ways it's cool, and in some ways it's a little creepy. What Delve does is Delve allows you to see what people are working on, what 365. So this shows me what people are working on in 365. That's either in SharePoint, in Skype, or excuse me, OneDrive for Business, and it shows me what people are working on. Now, I want to be very clear here. This has nothing to do with security. If you don't have access to a particular file or folder or whatever here, you will not see that activity. So this does not change any security or access, because this kind of almost seems like an eavesdropping. But this allows you to see what people are doing, working on, and all that kind of stuff. And you remember we talked about Office 3, or we didn't talk about it, right now, but you've got the ability to create Office 365 groups and the like. You can go in and create what groups to basically keep an eye on, track, all that kind of fun stuff. And the whole concept is that you can look into and see what is, for lack of a better word, I'll say trending, but then you can drill into and see why that's important, why people are working on, so on and so forth. So it's kind of like an odd version of collaboration. Do we use that here? No. Why? I don't see the use. And a lot of these things, keep in mind, is you're going to have some discussions because it's real easy to have a lot of junk as far as products and services and tools and all that. And whether or not do the people within your organization, do they collaborate online enough to justify some of these things? And or is this a way that you really want to communicate? And is the business large enough to warrant this kind of stuff? And is this the sort of way you want to be seeing what people are doing? Okay, Rob just says they got an error on the error 400. Rob, are you using Internet Explorer, or are you using Chrome, or are you using? Yeah, that's actually. Thank you very much. That's a very good point. Browsers matter. Now, I cannot tell you that it will work better, worse, Edge, Internet Explorer, whatever. But if you're using Google stuff, Chrome works better. If you're using Microsoft stuff, Edge or Internet Explorer works better. So, but cool. So, the big thing on Delve is, number one, it can be a little creepy. Number two, it does not change security. That's the key thing there as far as that goes. Flow. This is odd. If you think, those of you, and by the way, I am aiming this conversation mostly at folks who have some level of administrative skills, whether it be 365 or applications or whatever. Absolutely call me on it if you want me to talk, higher level, lower level, anything along those lines. Flow is just that. It's for workflow rules between applications that Microsoft has built the APIs for. So if you wanted to automatically, and they include Twitter, Dropbox, Salesforce, so it's not just Microsoft stuff. If somebody follows you on Twitter and you automatically want to follow them and you want to send them an email or send information or the like, you can set that up into Flow by using Flow. You create flows to be either a push button, I want to push this and boom, this happens. So push this and it'll text me my location where I'm at. In case I don't know, I want to make it so that CNN is going to send me daily updates, do whatever. So it creates some workflows between applications. Do I see a huge value in this puppy? Meh. But it's there. And let me see if I can show that one. I think that's... And this one's free. It integrates very nicely with, so some templates. It integrates very nicely with 365 and 365 data. So these are some ideas of what to do. So I want to save, for example, I want to save automatically any 365 email that I get with attachments. I want the attachments to go to OneDrive for Business automatically. I want to see when I get, when my boss, which would be my wife, when she sends me an email, I want to get a text to tell me that this one I better pay attention to, so on and so forth. Again, I'm going to say the same thing to a certain degree that I said with Delve. Is this a huge, wonderful thing? Yeah, it's all right. I'm not sure I would. This is one where if I see the need for it, I might go with it. Not sure I'd be a huge, we're not using that here at this point. But it's there. And especially if you take a look at some of the applications and services that have the interaction, the APIs have been built, you may see some good opportunities there. Okay? Any questions on that? Cool. GigJam. love the name. So GigJam, I'll be honest, I just found this one within the past couple of days, and I haven't had a chance to play with it. So I have a document, and I want to collaborate with some other people. I want to share this document or share this information, but I don't want to share all of it. I want to block portions of that document. I want to block portions of this information. GigJam allows me to share subsets of information, I guess is the best way to put it. Now, I want to be very, very, very clear. I don't get it. I looked at it a little bit. I looked at some of the information, and some of the videos, when you try to go into it through the admin portal, it links to some videos to getting started. The videos are gone, but there are videos up on YouTube for it. It's beta. So this is one I'm not sure I would spend too much time looking at unless, you might want to take a look at and it seems to be in that the add-on and services, you can enable that, and it'll then tell you what you can do as far as rolling it out and all that kind of fun stuff. And there is an app, and the app is on Windows, Android, and Mac. And by the way, I'm now seeing for all of these products, if there's an app, that app has been written for all three platforms. So the whole idea of this stuff comes out for Microsoft and Windows only, those days are gone. So, okay. So, GigJam. OneNote. OneNote is one of those products which proves beyond the shadow of a doubt that I am old. I don't use it, but there are people who absolutely love it. It is essentially a free form. The metaphor is a notebook where you create pages, and on the pages you can embed documents, sound, video, Scratch, all that kind of fun stuff. Really go to town and get very, very integrated with it. It used to be part of the paid Office product. It is now free. And the cool thing is that it integrates very nicely with OneDrive and OneDrive for Business. So you can have a OneNote document that is being synchronized between your devices. So the only reason I include this here is twofold. One is because of the integration with OneDrive and OneDrive for Business, and the fact that it used to be part of Office, and now it's a free standalone product. So those two things definitely worth it. It's definitely a product that not a lot of people have looked at or used on 365. We have. Why don't I use it? Because I'm old. I've tried it, and I just can't get my head around it. Now, I will say, and I've been using a Surface tablet, because it definitely, the more touch you have on your console, your screen, the better. I had a Surface tablet until about a month ago. I had a traditional non-touch laptop on my desk. I just upgraded to a ThinkPad, a Lenovo Yoga. And I may take the plunge again because I see the value of it. I just can't get my head around using it. So, Rob, do you use it? Yeah, you're one of those rabid guys, huh? Yeah, and that's the thing is that in no way, shape, or form am I going to take away from you guys because you'd hurt me. But no, it absolutely, especially as far as the integration between the OneNote or between the OneDrives, it's great and it is wonderful. I have not been able to get my head around it, and that's speaking as to a failure on my part, not anybody else's. So, Planner. We did a webinar on Planner, at least one. Planner is essentially, it's one of the repackaged web-based planning products, whatever, web. I think I'll just say web and planning and whatever. So what this is a very, very light project management tool. So this allows you to create tasks that you need to do, to-do lists, all that kind of fun stuff. It is, at this point, my understanding is Planner is included in the Office 365 E1 through E5 for enterprise, government, and nonprofit. And it's also included in Business Essentials and Business Premium. So for all purposes, all of the products that include SharePoint and OneDrive for Business seem to include Planner. Okay? Um, so it's there. I believe it does have to be turned on for some of you because they rolled it out step by step. They started rolling it out in January, I believe. It's not bad. You basically go in and, so again, I go over my app launch. And Planner. And we use a different project management tool, so you're not going to see this here from my standpoint, but these are plans that we've created and the tasks that I've been given, and we can integrate within and throughout the organization. It's a nice, again, light is the word, nice little project management tool. Okay. Power BI. Power BI is freaking awesome. Power BI is business intelligence, and there is a free version just called powerbi.com. There are other products that are basically subscription based, which is how it gets into the Office 365 mix. What Power BI does is it will work with an external data source. That external data source can either be local to your organization or web-based, service-based, all that kind of fun stuff, and will really make it easy for someone with the appropriate skills to create essentially that single pane of glass, the portal that you can really see your KPIs, key performance indicators, all that kind of thing, drill down into more information, so on and so forth. Let me, and you can actually get to it through your portal, or you can get to it through powerbi.com. Either way, and this is just a sample that I've got here. So these little panes are essentially areas that pull data sets from whatever your sources are. You click onto them based on the configuration, you drill down. Now, this all needs to be configured. This all needs to be put together, but the framework is there. So, and the free version is actually pretty darn powerful. The fee-based version start at like $10 a month per user, but it's good stuff. So definitely, and this is something that we can definitely help you on in terms of developing from a BI standpoint and the like. StaffHub. This is also relatively new. StaffHub is kind of odd. And Chris, I see you're on this. This is one you guys may want to take a look at. I wouldn't spend a whole lot of time yet, but this is where you can create, for all purposes, teams and departments. It is kind of like uses the Office 365, the Office groups within, and communicate schedules, time, stuff, all that sort of stuff between those folks. This is especially useful when you're trying to communicate to your kiosk users, if you've got kiosk folks for scheduling and the like. I think this is kind of similar to some of the earlier stuff. It is relatively new, and we have not used this here. But it's not a bad place to go out and take a look of communicating within groups within your organizations. Okay. Sway. Man, I don't get this. Excuse me. Sway is fantastic. All right. So what Sway is you will, for all purposes, take your multimedia content, put it together, and it'll create for all purposes, a video PowerPoint or a multimedia PowerPoint presentation, kind of self-guided and the like. It seems to be free. Again, it integrates with 365 very nicely because it will pull data from your OneDrive and from your SharePoint online. So it'll pull data from the cloud, and you can essentially say, I want this video included, I want these graphics included, I want this text included, so on and so forth. Here's the audio I want. Here's the suite. Here's the sweep between these events. It basically it's kind of a cross between YouTube, PowerPoint, and and a video editor kind of thing. So if you're looking to really build a more compelling video presentation of your information, Sway is worthwhile. If you go to sway.com and you take a look at, they've got some decent startups as far as getting you started with some videos and all that kind of fun stuff. If you are not looking to be creative and really have a good product presentation, not sure I'd see the value, but that's just me. Teams. I love it, ish. So this is for all purposes a group chat within your 365 organization. And the great thing is you can create the chat rooms, you can create the topics, you can add and remove people within your organization. So if you want to have a chat room that's specifically talking about marketing, a chat room that specifically talks about accounting or whatever, you can do that and you can maintain and create a great environment. We tried using it here for a bit. Now keep in mind there's a total of I think 10 or 11 of us here. And we found that we're just much more efficient using our tracking and ticketing system for the big stuff, and for the smaller stuff we use Skype for Business just to do chatting or group chatting if needed. This is kind of to, if you think of SharePoint as a big brother to OneDrive for Business, this is kind of like Teams to Skype for Business in terms of chatting and communication. The good thing about this, if you've used Slack, and I've used Slack on several groups, this is Slack. I mean, the interface is almost identical. And so if you're not part of a conversation, you can go find it easily. If there was a conversation that happened 6 months ago, you can go search on it very easily. It's actually a pretty powerful tool, relatively speaking. It's one where your organization, however, you gotta buy into it. Everybody has to say, yep, that's us, that's how we want to communicate. So, and let's just see. Teams is Teams is both a thick and a thin, so you can either look at it online or you can install the app on again whatever devices. So it's a good product. This is worth, if you want to build up better online communication between folks and groups, this is not a bad product to take a look at. Okay, To Do. To Do is this thing that helps you keep track of, what's the word I'm looking for, your to-do list. And it pretty much, it's available for 365, K1, E1, 3.5, and also you need to enable it in the admin center, and then you open through the web or you install the client, and it's literally your to-do list. It integrates nicely with your email and with some other tools and the like. It's fairly straightforward. It currently does not work on an on-premise Exchange, and it is, if you take a look at simplex-it.com/events, it is the next webinar we've got next week. Video, yeah, this one is odd. Video is included with a lot of the, oops, that's not what I want. Video really just allows you to share, and you can see that it actually goes to a SharePoint site, to your portal. You can create, upload, share, and play videos. So if you're looking to create in your organization specifically some spots for videos and the like, this is useful here. Not a big issue for us, but it's there, and it's part of, I believe, any of the subscriptions that include SharePoint Online. Yammer. Yammer is Facebook for a corporation. Microsoft actually bought Yammer a couple years ago, and really that's pretty much it. You create you can create an organization, an online organization for your organization. You can create groups. You can then have conversations and files and all that kind of fun stuff. I have seen one good Yammer site. And just simply because this is one you've got to create it, you've got to maintain it, and you've got to encourage people to participate. Oddly enough, the only good Yammer site I've seen has been the Microsoft Partner Yammer site. And the reason I say oddly in that is because Microsoft has an absolutely horrible partner portal that they just constantly add on to and throw things, and there's no rhyme or reason. And so it's very hard to find things on Microsoft's partner portal site, traditional website, unless you know where already you're going. The Yammer site is actually pretty well organized. When somebody wants to have a new group, they create a new group, and you can search on all of them, and it's encapsulated, and the files are there, and folders are there, and links are there, and it actually works very, very nicely. So, and we're already out of time by about 10 minutes, but those are the top level, just real quick, blowing through them all, products that Microsoft has recently added over the past 6 months to a year to 365. I'm not diving into any of these, but I literally just wanted a chance to go over each one of them individually. And I wanted to basically remind you of this deal, this offer, blah, blah, blah. So my question though, is there a product that we just went through that you'd like to see a webinar on? If there is, we'd love to see that in the conversation. I'm seeing nobody else. Okay, yeah, cool. So next month we're actually going to do the OneDrive for Business Administration. I'm not sure I got it on YouTube yet, Rob, but we did do Teams a month or so ago, and I'll put it on YouTube and I'll get the link out to you guys as far as that goes. And the BI. The BI is cool. Okay, that is the topic for this month, and hopefully this was useful. Have a cool time. Take care. Bye, everybody.